50 as well.
Well, he didn't really go for the mark, did he, the player there, the Sydney Swans player? He put a lot of pressure on. But, well, maybe I think it was pretty instantaneous. Peter, would have been a very tough decision to give 50 there.
So James Hird from Ainsley in the ACT kicks for goal. Mark to Salmon, or is it over the line?
It's a mark.
Injured his shoulder in the night series, because that was going to keep him out for a lot longer than it has done. He's running around. No one really standing the mark, and Salmon kicks a goal. Salmon's first, Essendon's third. The Bombers rode away to a handy lead early in the first quarter, 3-1 to 1 goal.
Well, he's a big danger, of course, Paul Salmon, in that Essendon forward line with his height and his goal-kicking ability. He's led the Essendon goal-kicking on 7 occasions. And, of course, he was struck down in 1984 when leading the VFL goal-kicking competition when he had that knee reconstruction.
As Jeff Rains fell across.
And he's marked well within scoring distance.
Well, they've also got Bradley Plain there. Paul Salmon, look at that pass, magnificent pass. Ridley moves around a lot. He's a terrific player on that forward line. That's what a forward needs to do.
Certainly moves around. He moves in and out of the seniors too, Bernie. Plays a reasonable game one week and an average game the next, and he's very, very quickly removed into the reserves. Ridley from straight in front. And I think he's just...
Long, always dangerous near goal. Sydney have the numbers. Oh, well shuffled out by number 13 and number 14. Bradley Plain puts it through. Long combining superbly with the former Tasmanian. So a very quick reply to Essendon.
He's a real thinker, isn't he, Michael Long?
Yeah, sure is.
He seemed to be completely out of it here. Quick kick there from Gary O'Donnell. Attempted kick off the ground there from Bradley Plain. And here's the speedster, Michael Long. Very good at ground level. Just shuffled that out. Not a Sydney player at the back there to cover.
7-1 plays 4-4.
Yes, here's the replay. No one was ever going to catch Darren Buick, but the kick into the forward line, a little bit ordinary, taken by Dunkley, but no one to give it to, and well tackled by the Essendon forwards, kept it into that forward scoring zone and finished.
8-2. Magnificent start by Essendon. 8-2 to 4-4.
Well, that came too easily. The kick out from full back, it was on because Considine was there by himself. We see just over the head of Considine, picked up by Simons. They were using a sort of zone defence there, Essendon, with that kick out. They covered all options. That kick had to be spot on. It wasn't coming from...
And Bayes just gets rid of Salmon. Very good body work. Yep.
Just that little nudge put Salmon out of the contest.
His kick, looking for McRae, falls short. Simons, McRae does a good job to spoil, and then hand pass away for Daniels. Daniels' little kicker to the centre. Malachelles. Hand pass. Holmes get rid of it quick. Very hard to run away from Michael Long. Malachelles and Mercury. Daniels caught by Mercury. Little kick off the ground. Coming from Dunkley. Stafford it was, as the umpire calls for a bounce. Right on the 50-metre line in Essendon's scoring area. They lead 8-2 to 4-4. Just half a minute left in the first term. 2 goals each to Hird, Plain and Ridley. Hird a chance again. Hand pass into the clear. Dunkley goes back and taps it over for a boundary throw-in. So the closing stages of the first quarter, the crowd have been fairly well entertained. 12 goals in the first quarter so far. And we're in the right forward pocket for the Bombers. Alessio doing the ruck work against Stafford. James Hird. Snapshot for goal. Goes across the face, eventually goes through for a behind. So right on the quarter-time siren, Essendon kicked their third behind Alessio, but in doing so, Bayes is a little too high on Alessio, and Alessio will receive the free kick straight in front, only a matter of 13 metres out, and he should convert for the Bombers.
He's grabbing him on the arms there.
Yes, there's the free kick. Obviously interference there to Alessio. Over the shoulder, grabbed on the arms. It didn't matter all that much.
So big Stephen Alessio, just 21 years of age, one of the younger brigade at Essendon, and a good kick
from that ball up there. And the Sydney Swans players, just no player back in defence. That's elementary stuff. They must position themselves around the bounce there.
By Hills.
Yes, Wanganeen now playing on the wing on Darren Kapler. Very versatile side, this Essendon side.
Hallmark of Sheedy's coach. He's kicked 3 goals, 1 already.
A lot of injury problems, of course. Bradley Plain, a very talented footballer, but he's only played 39 games in 5 seasons.
and he's the only guy that I see bounce the ball back when he's got the mark or the free kick.
Kicks the goal and gets the goal. Kicking distance. Hurd chasing Bradley Plain as the leading goal kicker in the match. He has 3.
And a very talented young player, James Hurd. I was probably a little bit critical of his play last week, allowing Shane Morwood to run off from half back, but geez, a skillful player. Look at that. No doubt about the goal. But James Hurd now has kicked 4 goals, 2. Bradley Plain has kicked 4 goals, 1. 2 goals each to Salmon and Ridley. And here's Mercury again, Bernie.
Wasn't that an excellent effort by Mercury? Well, he may have helped long enough, Robbo. May have been jolted out of his hand.
5 goals to James Hurd in still the first half to be concluded. So what can happen for this young man at the Sydney Cricket Ground today?
5 goals, 2 to James Hurd. 2 in the first term, now 3 in the second quarter. And picked up at number 79 in the 1990 national draft, so a long way down the list before he was picked up.
Essendon into within goal scoring distance. It's punched away. It goes past Holmes. Thompson, what a great kick. What a wonderful kick. Thompson caps off the first half performance for the Bombers with a terrific goal. It's their 17th, and they lead 17-5 to 6-7.
Well, I think we could be in danger of a record score here today at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Essendon doing it very nicely. Mark Thompson, twice best and fairest, 87 and 1990. And playing game number 152 here at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
Now playing at half forward.
Great goal by Thompson. Salmon. Buick. Loose ball. McRae fumbles. Murphy. And finally, ball kicked out by Joe Mercedes up towards Essendon's half-forward line, but a brilliant quarter by Essendon. They kicked 9 goals in that term. Sydney added only 2. So maybe that's going to be Sydney's bad quarter. They had 1 bad quarter against St Kilda. They had 1 bad quarter against Hawthorn. The Hawks kicked 10 on the last term after scores were level at 3/4 time. But the Swans had the job ahead of them if they're going to get back into this match.
Up there he had the footy.
And Chris Danaher again left alone on the other side of the ground for a long time. Not much discipline in the Sydney side.
Well, it's disappointing to hear you say that. That's what he did. Well, hand passed it to O'Donnell, who's kicked it to Salmon.
Another 50 metres because Dunkley has slung Salmon after he took the mark. So again, he will go to the goal line.
His 4th goal.
And just mark this one down as well.
They've already done it.
Here it is, O'Donnell. A pass out of the centre. They've really had no pressure from the centre. There's the mark. Taken by Salmon. Very little in it. Very little in it. He didn't sling him. After having a look at it, I thought he had slung him, but having a look at it again, there was no slinging. That Salmon just threw himself. So very soft, that one.
Yes.
Well, I'm a little bit with the supporters. The supporters are going berserk at the umpiring decisions. I can appreciate that if you're playing in front and you're going for the football and you can...
Goal this time to be taken by Michael Long.
What's going on?
Tell me if I'm wrong, Bernie, but I'm witnessing football more and more. We're playing more and more footy. We're exposed to more and more footy. There's less and less physical contact.
Some games. I saw a very good game yesterday, Collingwood and St Kilda, as Michael Long puts that one through from that free kick against
You've got 6 goals in that term. 2 gimmies to Paul Salmon. 23-9, 147, leading Sydney 9-10. From the SCG, 147 plays 61. Can the Bombers get their highest ever score against Sydney? Kelly, who was having a lengthy chat to the umpire during the 3/4 time break. Hills, was that one of those pro throws I heard Gerard Healy talk about yesterday? Daniels gets the hand pass away. Bays,
great
smother by Grenvold. The rebound is taken by Daniels. Kick off the side of the boot, and that's out of bounds on the full. And if we're being hypercritical of Jason Daniels, Bernie, that's one part of his play that lets him down.
Well, I don't think we're being overly critical at all there, Peter, because he was 40 metres out. No pressure being applied, and he's missed everything.
Hurd to kick in. He's kicked 6 goals too, and he's now at full back. Derek Kickett, of course, started there, played 2.5 quarters at full back.
It looked like young Stafford on the interchange bench too with Darren Holmes. So the Swans going into this last term with Bays and Bryce on the ball.
Fletcher up high, so too was Alessio. Couldn't drag it down. Kelly, Danaher, good tackle. Bays. Ball out to Masiti, who's been brilliant.
27 posies.
Long at the back, tries to flip it over. Brunton. Quick kick from a standing start. No one there except Masiti. Waters will stand the mark.
Well, Joe Masiti just does it in an economical fashion, accumulating possessions. And he's played another good game this afternoon.
That was a free kick,
towards the centre-half forward area. It's McRae at the back, mopping up. His kick just a little too far. But getting close to it is Kelly, eventually able to gather. Short kick looking for Lewis. Ridley pretty determined to get it. Alessio's shepherd. Lewis getting up very, very slowly. The kick into the centre has been marked by Ollerenshaw. Rick Ollerenshaw, just 17 years of age. Kick in towards centre-half forward. And Salmon marks.
There's two big Salmon.
I believe Ollerenshaw is still at school, still going to Essendon Grammar. So we've got Dustin Fletcher, who's, I think, just left.
Got some young players here.
There's. Plain kicks the goal. He's now kicked 5, Bradley Plain. And if the size from here are a bit of a worry, well, what's it like for Gary Buckenara? That was just too easy there. And Bradley Plain with a great smile across his face as Salmon.
Nonchalantly just passes it over the top. And look at this. It could have been either O'Donnell or Plain, but that is embarrassing.
And the bounce back in the centre. They've dominated the centre area. And if you do that, you've got a real good chance of winning a game of football here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Simons, Malakalis, it spills for O'Donnell. Handball wider. Buick makes it for himself and goes after it, gathers it nicely. Inside 50, kicks it into the pocket where Long races for it, but boundary line looming up. So a throw in the right forward pocket for Essendon. They lead 24-9 to 9-7. So the people who have backed Essendon to win by the biggest margin are certainly looking all right at the moment. Alessio doing the ruck work over the top. Considine at least made it a contest. Trying to crash his way through is kick it. Dunkley, Plain goes down holding his head, and the umpire will bounce about 13 metres away from the Essendon goal, right near the point of the goal square, as Bradley Plain gets himself up.
Salmon tries a duck weight job over the head. Ollerenshaw spilt it. Daniels might have given away a free kick in the back. Ridley will take it.
A lot of things they do wrong just seem to be so basic, don't they, Bern?
Elementary, aren't they? Elementary mistakes all afternoon by Sydney. There's a free kick against Daniels in the back to Ridley. And I think that they've been second to the ball on most occasions, Robbo. Those free kicks may be a big discrepancy, but they've played very poorly.
Todd Ridley kicks his third. Sydney looking a little inept. Bays taps down over the head of Daniels. Carroll paddles in front, kicks off the ground. Out to right half forward. Harvey's there. Does some soccer work himself. Thompson. Back to Danaher. Chris Danaher from left half back. Passes well. Alessio takes the mark. Done well today, the big fellow. Wearing the number 27 jumper with distinction. Carried for so many years. Simon Madden. Derek Kickett started at full back. Will he kick a goal? Not with that kick. Gets it to Long. Over the top. Kickett. Oh, gee, that was pretty close to a throw, wasn't it? Not picked up by the umpire. He said it was okay. Dunkley. Clearing kick by him out towards centre wing. Plenty of space there. Simons will get there first in front of Kapler. He's got support from Grenvold. Tries to tie it up. The ball shuffled out the back of the pack. Carroll is there. Unloads with a long hand pass. Gives it to Malakalis. And Malakalis goes long to half forward.
Yes, up to the 50-metre line. Yeah, Chris Danaher there with Cresswell. Ball spills free for Lawson. Lawson's kick into the right forward pocket. Swans player should mark. No, he couldn't quite take it. Bryce gets around onto the left foot and kicks it behind. Nothing can go wrong right for the Sydney Swans. 9-8. And Essendon 25-9. Chris Danaher back there. it back into play. He elects to come to this near side of the ground. Ridley from behind. Great mark. O'Donnell forced to kick quickly in the finish. Shaw, handball away for Hurd. A little bit too slow, but able to get his kick away in towards half forward. And good roving of the pack by Plain. Plain's kicked to full forward.
Dunkley
nearly pays Sam.
Oh, Dunkley's taken the mark, Robbo.
Yes. Have another look.
He worked his way to the front, and it was a clear mark.
Right.
I agree with this, with Dunkley being very upset about this. You watch him work his way to the front here.
Good.
Salmon's in front.
Salmon's the man.
The man
hands
is
on it. 2 hands on it, Salmon.
Oh, gee, I don't know.
2 hands on it.
I don't know.
But I must admit that usually if the man in front is in the contest with an indecisive umpiring decision, he usually gets it. Anyway, Salmon will kick the goal. No doubt about that.
Gee, 3 gimmies to Salmon.
He's kicked 5, Peter, which he, James Hurd and Bradley Plain have kicked 16 of those 26 goals.
But the other guy, getting back to this decision, has got his hands on the ball first. Should it not be a mark at all, Bill?
The point is that Robbo is
Play
making that he only had 1 hand on it, Dunkley, and Salmon did have 2 hands on it. But he definitely had his hand wedged in there, didn't he, Robbo?
Or was it play on?
It's a clear mark to Salmon.
All right, okay.
Have a look at the scoreboard. There's a goal there for them.
62 to 165. The difference has blown out to 103 points. Greenvold, Simons, Kelly in pursuit. McRae in the box seat. Michael Long will stand the mark. Transferring play to this side of the ground. He's got Lewis on offer. Lewis up through the centre square. Now he runs into trouble. Has to check his shot. Gee, that sun can be a problem. Malakaris. Well, he's picked up quite a few positions around the ground today. Bryce. Knocked away by Fletcher.
Yeah, terrific by that young man.
He's tall and very mobile as well too, Peter.
I saw him at training at the MCG a couple of weeks back, Bernie, and you're dead right. He was running around the boundary line, and he was really moving for a tall fellow.
He obviously needs to put on a little bit of weight, 196 centimetres and 80 kilograms, so he needs to build up.
Emphasis on their effort, is there?
No, that's true.
So you might be able to get away with
the legs
having more than 1 game in the weekend.
88 to 168. Werner giving the Swans at least something to kick to up on the forward line. Kick, of course, to him then came from Osborne. Long out of the centre from right centre wing. Murphy dives on top of it. So too does Simons and comes up with a football. Could have been legged. Shaw back to Long. He'll kick from a standing start. What's he got? O'Donnell. Pinpoint accuracy.
I thought
Dale Lewis was a bit fortunate there, I think.
Hold your breath there, I think, Dale Lewis.
He's a great player, this guy, O'Donnell.
Oh,
just keeps on working both ends of the game.
Yes, and, well, maybe 50 metres warranted.
So Plain coming off and Derek Kickett coming back on. Kick is a goal. O'Donnell's first. 10th Essendon player to score a goal this afternoon. Major contributors being Hurd and Paul Salmon. Oh, left out Bradley Plain.
And a major contributor for Sydney is Michael Werner. He's kicked all Sydney's 4 goals in this final term and has kicked 6 for the match. So great performance by Michael Werner in a losing side.
So with the time running down, good ruck work by Bay. He's got the ball to Waters. Waters kick into a vacant left forward pocket region. Harvey not bad there. I'm sure he probably meant that just to give it a little kick for Kickett. Kick it quick there, Chris Danaher. He does in the finish. A little too high for Ridley. In comes Hills, hard at the footy, which I don't think is any exception from Hills' point of view. He's always pretty good at that. Simons dispossesses Malakalis, but in doing so, takes it back into the crunch situation. Now Mercurie's kick in towards the forward pocket. Buick. There's a chance for Wanganeen. Wanganeen shot for goal. No, across the face. It's marked by Considine. Very, very close to the behind line. And Considine's very laconic kick there. Eventually finishes with Brunton. Brunton's kick nearly marked by Hills, but does well. spins out of trouble and kicks it into the centre of the ground, where Ollerenshaw shares it with Masidi. Masidi now 29 kicks and 4 hand passes, and Wanganeen has marked well within scoring distance and gives it back to the young fellow Masidi, who has covered a bit of territory there, about 100 metres from the wing, and he'll now have a shot for goal.
In the vote, Robber?
I don't think there'd be any doubt about that, but he does it in a very unobtrusive fashion, doesn't he?
He's not flash easy at all.
Spectacular player, but
Mercuri's stats are pretty good also. 8 marks, 11 kicks, 12 hand passes.
I don't think you can ignore this young bloke, though. This will be his 30th kick, and he kicks a goal with that 30th kick.
His first, so 11 players for Essendon have now kicked their 28 goals, 180 points. They need 4 points to get their highest ever score against Sydney.
We're 2.5 minutes into time on.
Even money? You're a betting man.
Oh, they've got to take it, Pete.
2 bobs on the table.
Well, they've dominated the centre bounce, so there's every chance that they can take this away and down into the forward line very quickly. Nearly 4 minutes left. Bays with the football on the defensive side of the square. Handball for Daniels, just a little bit too far. Hills again. A real rush for the footy. Diving on it, you take the risk of being penalised if you dive on the football and drag it back in, but the umpire on this occasion will bounce. It's 2 kicks from Essendon's goal and only about 3 or 4 metres in from the boundary line. The ruckman converging, Alessio and Bays, but Considine takes it out of the air. Bays dispossessed. O'Donnell, Alessio, Ollerenshaw, and then Brunton. Boundary throw in.
About 65 metres from goal. Clock ticking down. It's going to be a huge win to Essendon. They're the interest in the match, whether they can get their highest ever score against Sydney. Bays takes it out of bounds. So Swans working manfully to try to stop that happening. And a disappointing day for Sydney supporters. They expected more. Alessio taps down. Daniels went without it. Good tackle by Alessio. Michael Long, looping hand pass over the top. Masiti kicks to half forward. No mark taken down there. Salmon goes off the ground. McRae puts his body in. Shuffled out the front to Ollerenshaw. Barging his way through Kelly. Sydney might be able to get clear. In fact, they will. Hand pass comes out to Creswell. Long chasing hit. Creswell from left centre wing. Bryce at the back. Kick it. Nearly throws it away. Werner has kicked 6 goals, 4 in this quarter.
They've kicked Bernie in this last term, 5 goals, 3. Essendon have added 5 goals, 3 as well. Richard Osman crashing clear of the Mercury tackle, bouncing twice, running up near 50 metres. Goes with the left foot, close to the line. It's helped over by Derek Kickett for 1 behind. So the interest really is in, as far as Peter Land is concerned, is in whether Essendon can get another goal to kick their highest score ever against the red and white.
Might happen. Long will look for Wanganeen. Waters in pursuit. Won't catch him. Kicks to centre wing. Good mark taken by Grenvold. Grenvold off on his bike pretty quickly. Kicks up towards half forward. Murphy got a hand to it. Or Dunkley got one a little bit too high. Came reeling out of the pack. And it will be a bounce, some 35 metres out from the Essendon goal, directly in front.
He seems to like putting his face on the end of people's fists and elbows, doesn't he? Dunkley?
He's copped a couple this afternoon. Put your body on the line. I don't think the coach would mind, though. That's on the shoulder.
Free kick to Salmon. Here's the chance, Pete.
Oh, gee, he's had some gifts to the fish, hasn't he? I'm not saying they're not there, but
35 free kicks to 17 in favour of Essendon. Paul Salmon, but he puts his body in front. He positioned himself well, and if there's any free kicks to be given, it's a player who's doing the right positioning, as Salmon did on that occasion.
And Paul Salmon usually takes plenty of time to kick at goal. He's being no exception. He's kicked 5. He hasn't kicked 6. It hit the post. His first blemish for the day. Maybe they won't get the record but it will be a very convincing win to Essendon over Sydney. Kick out. So it's 181 to 95 at the SCG. No mark taken out there. Daniels hits the deck. Back it comes to Carroll. Looks for the hand pass over the top. McRae. No mark taken again. Bryce kicks it straight up in the air. 40-metre kick. 20 up and 20 down. Fletcher. There's the siren. And Essendon running out more than convincing winners over Sydney. Not a record score by them, but a huge margin. 28-13 was their final tally. 28-13, 181 to Sydney, 14-11, 95.
Well, they just dominated the game right from the start. They kicked 8 goals 3 to 4 goals 4 in the first quarter. And from there on, a 9-goal second term, they just took it right away from the Swans. We looked at half-time, Bernie, for good players from the Swans, and it really was a struggle, wasn't it? And whereas when you look at Essendon, they had many, many players who contributed during the day.
Yes, exactly. There's been plenty of players in the Essendon side with good stats, but at half-time, and even now, it is very hard to find players with good stats in that Sydney side. Bays did a reasonable job early. They needed him probably in a different position. Centre-half forward, they tried him in that second half. But a very inept performance by the Sydney side. If anything, they've gone backwards on last year's performance. But
bit of excitement here, Bernie.
Bit of excitement.
The only part of the day. There's a guy done the whole width of the ground. He's bolted through the crowd. I wonder if he could get away.
He showed a bit of pace. I think they should recruit him,
Put him in the team.
He's very quick.
That takes us out from the SCG. Let's go to Dennis Committee at Subiaco.
Okay, thanks, Pete. Well